Here today with Kayla Burke, and Kayla is an enterprise sales specialist at Microsoft. She's also the founder of a company called The Tech Level. So, Kayla, it's so great to see you. Thank you.
Thanks for having me. Such a pleasure.
Yeah, so we were both at the CIS Summit. I wanted to give a shout out to Sisters in Sales. What a great group. I know you've spoken at one of their virtual events, right? And also at the in-person event.
Yeah. I've actually worked with SIS for the past 2 years and I've done a lot of things. Last year I was the keynote for the Aspiring Seller Summit. And we're going to do some cool and exciting things coming up next month in March. So super excited. I love what Chantel's building and it's just an awesome community to really be a part of. So yes, love Sisters and Sales.
Yeah, the Aspiring Summit is really neat. It's a great place to learn. I'm curious, when you went to Florida State University, and I wonder, what did you think you'd do when you graduated? Did you have any thought about that?
Yeah, so it wasn't sales, I'll say that. I went to school for information communication technology, and 2 summers I did an internship in LA with All Def Digital, which was more like music and media and entertainment. And then my last 2 internships, I did Tyson Foods in Arkansas and was a business analyst. So I tried to explore, both sides of my degree, which was like information communication and technology, the communication side and technology. And I ended up deciding to go become a business analyst once I graduated full time because Tyson offered me. So I was feeling important. Oh, I got my offer letter
Very
before.
practical, right?
So it was the most like just logical decision. But within a year, I was like crying my eyes out. I was calling my parents. I was just like, I don't want to do this. I don't know why I signed up for this. I loved my major, but the job isn't translating. And I ended up finding out about sales about a year later after graduating. And someone was like, with your personality, like you're in technology, this is what you should be doing. And I was like, oh, okay. So that's literally how I found out about software sales, was just a random encounter with a friend who connected me with someone at IBM. And here we are almost 9 years later, just rocking and rolling in the sales industry.
And they have really good training programs, don't they? Or they used to. I'm sure they still do.
Yeah, I think they stopped the program that like for a while that they had maybe last year called the Summit program, which is what I came through. But yeah, I was trained for 6 months before we ever got to even land in a role. And it was a really amazing experience. I tell everybody it changed my perspective on life. It changed me from an emotional intelligence perspective, understanding customer needs and challenges in the business. It was really life changing. Their training was
Wow.
so.
That's exciting. My very first sales job was in channel sales, and I sold the first IBM computers.
Oh,
They were
wow, yes.
personal, we call them personal computers at the time,
Correct.
and software on the shelf. We had boxes of software that Microsoft and others made. So that's funny. So I go way back. But tech is hard for people to break into typically, especially women. Do you have any suggestions about, and now I know you started a company because of this, right? You started a side thing where you're helping people and you've helped many people get into tech roles, correct?
Yeah, so that was what the tech level was started on. The foundation was how do we help new sellers land and expand, essentially, is what I always say. But it is pretty hard to get into. I would say that what makes it, and I like to say it's simple, it's not easy. So, what I mean by that is there are processes that you can follow to get the job. It's not something that's impossible or over the top for anyone to achieve, but it's not easy. And why I say that is because you have to become a real great steward of being able to understand business challenges as well as technology. And for people who may not come from that industry or may not be familiar or versed with technology, you obviously have to learn the verbiage. You have to learn what it means to impact a business with technology. How does it change a company? How does it generate revenue or increase productivity or reduce time? So there's so many aspects of learning that is required and it's nonstop. It's every year. It's like never ending because new technology is coming out that I would say makes it a challenge. But I love that challenge because I think it keeps me in a place of this job isn't the same. I may be doing sales in the same industry, but it's ever changing and evolving. So
Yeah. And it's different at bigger companies, enterprise sized companies like Microsoft and IBM, I'm sure. to a certain extent, but smaller companies tend to have much of a bro culture. Maybe enterprise does too. They don't hang out there as much, but can you say anything about just dealing with that bro culture?
Yeah. I feel like earlier in my career, I was young, I was African American, and I was a girl, right? So I'm like 23, new in the industry. And I think it started to hit me very early. This is a male dominated industry, right? And for me, what I realized that would give me the leverage in the situation, one, I'm just going to throw it out there. I think women are better sellers. So I'll just say that. But
Oh, yeah.
I I think that what I gained very early in my career, or what was brought to my attention, was that if you are going to want to dominate this industry, you're going to have to be super knowledgeable. You're going to have to be able to play with the big boys, you know what I mean? And the leverage or advantage that you're going to have is not showing up like a pretty girl or just being the girl's girl, but hey, like when you bring me into a deal, like I actually bring value. Like you want to call me because I'm going to advance things. And dealing with male counterparts on the flip of that, selling, I feel like they're more receptive to women, right? Like their egos aren't at play. So I would have male managers be like, okay, put Kayla on the call just because of the way that I could communicate or get through to a male. So I think it is a bros industry, but I think if you learn how to really fine tune the characteristics or the skills that you can use to your advantage, I do think it plays a long-term advantage in sales personally. So that's what I
That's
was.
great. That's a good point of view. And also, you got to have good leadership, right? You have to be supported. You have to be heard. I know, heard so many different scenarios over the years where it's not necessarily that kind of an environment for some of the women that I've talked to. But when you have a good product or service, you have a good team, you have a good boss, you can really, sales is unlimited, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree. And I think there are conditions that make selling more profitable or make it really difficult to climb that. And I would say having a great management is definitely one of those things. I've been on both sides of the fence. I'm happy to say that being at Microsoft, I've had amazing managers, like super, super supportive throughout this whole journey. But there was a time when I was at IBM, I didn't have the most supportive manager who wasn't able to help me grow and develop or maybe understand the type of personality that I had and what I needed to thrive. But yeah, I would say the moment that my sales career really skyrocketed was because I had a manager that knew, okay, this is what I have. I have this amazing salesperson. She may be a little rough around the edges in these areas. Let me pour into her. Let me sit on her calls and help her with her pitches, help her really grow as an individual. And the results were just insane. So
Yeah.
I think somebody that has been experienced, understands like the nuances of deals and things that you're up against, and also being able to pour into you or motivate you and support you, I definitely think really helps. Whereas on the flip, if you're not feeling supported, it's just so hard to wake up every day and do your job on top of feeling like I'm literally up against a fight daily with somebody who's
Yeah.
supporting me, you know? So yeah.
Yeah, I agree. And I always say to people, if they're listening to the podcast, if you're in a if you're a woman, you're in a situation where you feel like you're not supported and your boss is not listening, or I talked to a woman not too long ago who was being like alienated. She was told, only talk to me, don't talk to anyone else
Mhm.
in another team or any. She was like totally isolated, almost like an abusive relationship. It's crazy. And there's some goofy managers. In my career, I had 23 managers. And I always say that some were awesome and some were awful. And you got to make sure it's something I would definitely look at if I went to a new company to work for. I want to know who my direct supervisor is because we want to be mentored and we want to learn and we want to grow and be coached, right?
No, I agree. And just like you said, something that I always coach people on are like when you're going through the hiring interview with a sales manager or director, you should have a synergy with them. If something feels off, I probably would not take the job. I'm just going to be honest and
Me
transparent.
too.
Like when I get there, if it's not good during the interview and we don't connect, anytime I've had an interview and me and the sales manager hit it off, those have been the situations where when I land the role, the sky's the limit. Vice versa, not really. So, a big piece of advice I'm very big on is know the company's culture, know what you're signing up for as it relates to just culture and support and environment, because I think different people thrive in different environments, and knowing how to like you said, curate that perfect sales environment that allows you to thrive is really important as well.
That's great. It's like when I rent a car, if I open the door, if it smells like smoke, like that smoke smell doesn't go away. It only
Yeah.
gets worse.
And it
I'm
might
sure.
break down, it might blow up. I don't know what it's gonna do, so I'm not gonna happen at all.
Yeah, we learn that as we go through some of these experiences. That's funny. So, are you hopeful? You help a lot of women get into tech roles, so you must think it's a great profession to be in, right?
Yeah, no, I think it's amazing. I think as a young African American woman, I probably came into this industry at 23, I would say. I'm turning 30. And yeah, it's helped me build generational wealth. It's helped me to invest and build assets and become a homeowner. And it's just opened so many doors for me, understanding business strategy, understanding how companies operate, understanding finances and stocks. Like, it's just opened up such a big world for me that I don't think if I went into other careers, I would have had so much access to information, along with the fact that we work with technology. So we know all the cutting edge things coming out and how to stay ahead.
Right.
You are a business owner or just even in sales doing your own things. Yeah, I think that this career can really change the trajectory of your life. You're in an uncapped situation. I always say is if you want to be an entrepreneur, but you want to put the risk in somebody else's ball court, like it's an amazing career for you because you don't have to go in debt and take out a loan. You don't have to do anything, but you still get to utilize your skills. You have your own book of business, you get your
Right. It's
clients.
like being a CEO of your territory, right?
Literally. So that's your territory. You're responsible for it, and no one's gonna help you to figure it out. Like
Right.
you're gonna figure out how to get that money. So I think that those are intangible skills, in my personal opinion, that you learn through the job. And I think they translate into life. So I am very big on as a woman, as a minority, like this is a life-changing career. And I think that a lot of people just don't have insight like I did. I went to college and they don't tell you as a major go into sales. And I think my perception as well before coming into sales was like a salesperson. What you think of when like somebody like dresses up and goes door to door, like begging people for like things like that's what I thought of as sales. So I think this is more like the sophisticated side of sales, I like to say, because I do think there's a perception on like salespeople that we may be grimy or trying to get over on people. Whereas this has taught me you are a advisor, you're strategic, you consult. There's just so much to do, and
It
I
was
just
like a well-kept secret that the guys had because
for a long
I know
time.
so many women that didn't know what business to business selling even was. Like it's even our job. And they, unless they had a parent or relative or someone who was a realtor or somebody who was an entrepreneur and had to do a lot of selling, there are a lot of women that I talk to, and I know at the college level that don't know what sales, don't know that there are 200 universities with sales programs, including Florida State.
Right.
They have a great program now.
Yeah, and even when I was there, knowing about sales, but knowing about industry specific sales to me is just so different. Like I went through a whole technology. I got a degree in that and didn't know I could. All you told me was I can engineer the product. I can build it. You never told me I could sell it. You know what I mean? So I just think of so many people who could graduate with an engineering degree and become a sales engineer. There are just so many options. People who are in medicine, maybe you want to come out and do pharmaceutical sales or you want to do it med device sales. There's so
Yeah,
many
med
things
tech.
you can
Yeah.
use the foundation of a major and surpass a whole bunch of debt, surpass a whole bunch of years, and come out and make just as much money as a doctor. So it's interesting because I do feel like it's gatekept a lot.
I know it's a big secret. Nobody's talking about it, but we are today. So that's great. So tell us more about you're committed to helping more women succeed. Tell us a little bit about your program. You have ongoing classes, or what do you do?
So the Tech Level is an ed tech company. And what we do is we take a hybrid approach at training and developing new sellers. So people who may not have degrees or people who are transferring in from other industries. So I have a lot of people who will say, oh, I'm like a dental assistant or I'm a nurse, but now I want to do sales. Like, where do I start? How do I get in? So we really bridge the gap for people on technology and sales training on how to land those roles. And we also do a lot of like career development around interviews, resumes, LinkedIn's, things like that to equip them with the tools that are necessary to not only learn the skills, but obviously go out and get the jobs. Yeah, it's a hybrid approach where the students do at least 2 to 3 hours of live coaching and learning every single week. And then they have done for you sales videos. So demos on things like Sales Navigator, Zoom Info, where they're learning the tools and the skill set that's necessary to like get into the role. But our curriculum really focuses on 4 pillars, and I call it the REX framework, which is what my whole formula to success is, which is going to be relationships, expertise, strategy, and confidence, right? So we build on those 4 pillars of, okay, do you understand how to curate a relationship? Do you understand how to show up as an individual who wants to make a relationship with somebody?
Yeah.
Then we move into expertise. So are you going to be able to become a steward of learning technology? Do you understand the value propositions, the competition aspect of technology solutions and ecosystems and how they impact businesses? And then the last 2 pillars are more so to expand them as they go into their roles. So territory management, heat mapping, understanding your strategy and alignment on how you curate cadences and do pipeline development. And then how do you actually get on the phone with the customer? So how do you curate your discovery call, your qualifying questions, things of that nature. So we move through a very in-depth process with them. And yeah, we've had a really great success rate. So
And
it's
you've
been,
seen people's lives change, right? That's what's so cool about what we do, right? You've seen
yeah,
people, because I know I went from minimum wage to within just a few years, I was able to buy my first home. And
yeah.
life
No,
changing for as a single mom. It was incredible.
no, it is amazing. I had a student just like the other day, within 8 weeks, she went from making $15 an hour to 55,000 in base. So I see these things and it's interesting because I didn't set out with the intention to just make it about finance, right? It was more so about my passion to help sellers. But when I see that there are people that I get to connect with and spend hours and hours of time with them and see them get these wins and see them say, oh, I just got a job at AWS. I can't believe this is my offer, or Oracle. And I'm like, you literally have no idea like the door you just opened. Like your whole life trajectory is about to change. You know what I mean? This one girl, she works at Dialpad and she came through the program, and within 6 months she became top seller, all these things. And she texted me and I'll never forget. She was like, oh my God, I just got like an $8,000 commission check. You have no idea how much this changed my life. So when we talk about the time to, or the return on investment, if that makes sense, it's really immeasurable, is what I will say, because it's not about what company they ended up at. It's not about any of that. Is like the time I get to spend with someone, seeing them literally bring something that they had a dream around, or I really have this blockage in my life, or I'm in debt, or I'm, like you said, a single mom, or whatever they're up against. And it's, here's a win that I got. And here's a win that can significantly change my finances, not only for me, but a lot of times for the people around them. Yeah, it's a really fulfilling feeling. And I really think that it does give me a sense of purpose to
Yeah.
know that I have a lot of people that I can impact like that every day.
One of my proudest moments, in addition to buying my house, was seeing my son get his master's degree.
Right.
And I was 18 when I had him, and we were the bad statistics. We weren't supposed to succeed, but we pulled ourselves up and we made it happen. Thanks for me, thanks to a sales career, no doubt.
Yeah. And I think sales just gives you the tenacity, like you said, to just keep going in life. There's going to be obstacles, there's going to be hard times that come up against you, but the mindset to keep persevering and to keep pushing and to go find what you need to make something come to life, to me, is a really amazing skill to
Yeah.
just have in life. So I love, yeah, I love that it helped you, and I love to be able to connect the dots for so many people in those types of situations and see them move forward and just build relationships too, because that's what it's about.
Yeah. That's great. So tell us more about Kayla. What do you listen to any podcasts, or do you read, or how do you learn?
Yeah. How do I learn? I read a lot of books on like leadership. I read a lot of books on, so what's crazy is when I was younger, I did not like to read. I used to think I hated reading, but I realized I was just reading stories and novels, and that's not my thing. Like I like to read books that help me to gain tangible skills or knowledge. So if I'm seeking advice or need insight into something, those are the books I read. And those are typically more boring books, but I feel like I'm gaining something at the end.
Yeah.
So I read a lot of like self-development books, business books, leadership, things of that nature. But I think I'm a really good visual learner as well. Like I like to watch a lot of videos.
Yeah.
So I don't really listen to podcasts as much. I watch more physical podcasts like on YouTube and things of that
Ah,
nature.
good to
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. But like a lot of people do like Audible when they're working out and stuff. Like I just, my mind's always racing on a million. Like for me, I need something to look at and watch for me to learn. So I'm a YouTube university student, I like to call it.
Good. Good to know. That's good. We may do more visual podcasts on YouTube in the future. I think that's a great idea. So, any words of advice for a woman that's in a sales role or thinking about getting into sales? Do you say go for it?
Yeah, I'm always my biggest and favorite quote is if you don't believe in yourself, no one else will. So the biggest thing for me is if it's a desire of yours, if you've even found this podcast at this point, you're interested, you're engaged, you're like trying to get the information on how do I move forward. I think it's so crucial to just give it a try. You never know unless you try. And if you don't try, you've always failed. So I'm very big on, yeah, go for it. And like we just said, it's so life changing. Even if it's not something you do forever, you will learn something along the way that probably will change the trajectory of your life. I'm always like, go for it, girl. Go get it. Okay.
Yes.
Like, my
Those
mental.
sales skills, they can help you as an entrepreneur, and they can also help you if you stay in a company, you want to rise, and you got to sell your ideas all the time. And
Right.
so learn sales. There's really no downside, in my opinion. I think you need to stick with it at least a couple years because
Right.
first months can be tough.
It is a grind in the beginning. But I think those are the important places. I tell everybody, a lot of people run from like the BDR, SDR roles. They're like, oh, like I gotta hit the phones and stuff. But I'm like, that's where you learn to really sell, in my personal opinion, when
Yeah.
you have to learn how to adapt very quickly. You have to learn how to navigate situations and conversations. And I think those are the skills and the heart that's necessary to like really persevere in the industry. But yeah, it is like anything else in life. There's gonna be some barriers and doors you got to knock down in the beginning, but then it's okay, boom, the gates have opened. Like now I have the leverage to go to this company or get this role, and it gives you so much more autonomy. So stick it out. If you're in a season right now where you feel like it's hard, it gets better. That's what I will say. Once you climb into your sales career, it definitely gets better. So stick it out, keep going. And if you're new or trying to get in, I definitely say give it a shot. Like just give it a go.
And can
Yeah.
people reach out to you at the tech level website, or should they go to your LinkedIn, or where should they go?
Yeah. So if they're interested in getting help or training and just advancing into a sales career, they can come on my LinkedIn, which is just Kayla Burke, or they can go to the Tech Level website directly, www.thetechlevel.com. We also have free trainings on the internet, on my LinkedIn. We do free workshops for sellers once or twice a month live. And our socials is the best place because you can sign up for free stuff, you can engage, and then really engage with the brand. So, yeah, that's how you can find me. I hope to help more people this year. I don't want to put a number on it because I feel like putting a number on it can be limiting. So
Yeah.
we want a lot more people break into sales in the future and just keep getting more salaries and some more companies under our belts. So really
Yeah.
excited.
So if anyone's thinking about it, reach out and see what Kayla's offering. Take look at some of the videos and things online and learn more about what the sales opportunity is. Because to me, it's a game changer. It's the best thing I ever did, I know. And to this day, I'm benefiting from it. So really awesome to have you here, Kayla Burke, an enterprise sales specialist at Microsoft and also founder of the Tech Level, and looking forward to great things following your career in the as you get in your 30s. Oh my goodness. Yeah, that's a great decade. I got to tell you, you're going to love it. Thank you
Awesome.
so much for being here.
Thank you so much for having me. It was a pleasure.